Gaurav, Bilal, welcome to NDTV. Watched your show. I personally really liked it. So congratulations. That I really think we have got it right once again. So are you all getting this feedback from the people who have seen within, outside?
Thank you for having us. Not yet. I think very few have seen it. I think it's very encouraging at this point of time.
Right.
I hope the trend continues.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. I hope everyone likes it. I think that's what we're hoping for.
Right. My first question will obviously be this: that there are so many books out there. Why Bard of Blood? Why did you select this?
I think it's about the story. I think we didn't chase the book as such.
Okay.
We chased the story, what Bilal wrote, and in terms of how the character of Kabir also moves, through the story progresses, and the multiple characters which are in the story. It kind of suited well for a longer format. I think that's what we were looking for. And eventually book became kind of a inspiration for the entire piece to put it together, because we could go back to book all the time whenever we had any doubts and whenever we want to probably progress the story into a different direction. It became kind of a guiding light throughout the process.
Right.
So that's why. I think story being primarily.
Right, story mainly. Bilal, when you wrote it, how old were you? 17?
19.
19. Okay.
He's still 19.
No, now I'm 25. So it's been a journey.
It's been a journey. Again, the first question to you will be, for a 19-year-old guy, this is a very complicated and a very hard-hitting one. Where did this come to you from?
I've always been a fan of the genre.
Right.
I like spy fiction, and I used to read up a lot and watch a lot of stuff. And I had the opportunity to kind of assist Hussain Zaidi in my college, and I still kind of help him now.
Okay.
So he had actually come to my college.
With research or something?
With research and just some amount of writing before he, just to take the load off him in that sense.
Right.
And that was in way back in college, I think third year. I was in Xavier's, and he had come for a guest lecture. And I was helping him with one of his books at that point, and he had read what I had written and really liked it. So, I mean, that was in relation to his own book. So he asked me if I ever thought of writing something of my own. And just so it happened, I was writing Bard of Blood, but for fun, just something that I thought would be lost in my own notebook. Wouldn't quite make it, I never thought it would make it as a book. So I sent it across to him.
Right.
This character, Kabiran, and then just doing some fun stuff, action and all of that. And he didn't respond to it for a month, so I thought he really hated it. But it turns out he actually sent it to my publishers, who eventually became my publishers.
Wow.
So that's the journey of the book. As far as research went, I think he had a great hand to play in just helping me kind of, even though it's fiction, kind of maintain a certain tone of, reality.
Right.
So, he was an integral part of the book.
Right.
And now he's an integral part of the show along with so many others.
Right. No doubt, he's such one of the best writers we have on Underworld and this this zone. For fun, you ended up writing a great book. Yeah, this is.
I know. Thank you. I mean, I didn't see it coming.
I think to add to that, I think Hussain Saab also helped us a lot during the show in terms of research.
Yes.
Because no one knows how RAW operates, or any intelligence agency will operate. It's something that people who have interacted with understand how an agent will operate, how they operate in a domestic land, how foreign land. So I think a lot of those details came from him, which kind of helps you to write the characters much better. So he was quite instrumental.
I mean, while you're kind of telling a fictional story, you just have to maintain a certain tone of some reality, some semblance to reality, right? And I think to write it that way, you just need to know what the reality is, which is what he helped with in terms of research. And then it was up to me to fictionalize it for dramatic purposes, what serves the purpose of the story.
Right.
So, that's how that book happened, I think.
Okay, interesting.
A long time
Was
back.
this always supposed to be with Netflix? For you guys, it's also a very big show. As we were talking, Reed Hastings doesn't announce everything. He did announce this one. Was this always the plan?
See, we at Red Chillies have a long-term relationship with Netflix.
Right.
It started with licensing deals sometime back in 2015.
Right.
Since then, I think we have worked with them. We like them. I think it's a very good relationship where they contribute on both sides, creatively as well as in terms of every aspect of showmaking. So for us, I think we are working with someone who's much more experienced.
Yeah.
See, I think this television shows, especially for the internet, which is a world television now, a global television, is pretty new to India. So you need a partner who has that experience, can probably guide you or navigate you through that process, so that you can probably write better. You can probably bring in those on every episode. You can have those moments which continues to keep the interest going for audience. So yeah, I think it's a great relationship we have. So it helped us big time.
Right, you all have a great production house yourself. Why not a film? That would be an option.
That of course could have been an option, but I think the way we saw it, Bilal and I think it's a very fun story. Bilal had written this book. He had optioned it to someone else, and the option was expiring. And Bilal...
That was for film at that point. I think the digital mediums hadn't entered India.
And before that, the option was expiring. Bilal and I have this conversation. It's a very funny conversation in the washroom. I think standing on the other side of
the washroom against each other, minding our business. And then,
क्या कर रहा है बुक के साथ में? कुछ नहीं. When is it expiring? अच्छा सीरीज पे काम करें क्या? हाँ करते हैं. Are you interested? Yeah, let's do it.
Amazing. That's how it started.
No, I just felt, of course, it's an opportunity. We had to make a pitch. We had to pitch it to them, all of that. But the way to tell this book, and because you've seen the show, you'll know, is that there are so many characters that lend themselves to the narrative in a way that you can flesh them out in a better way. In a film, they'd probably get compressed. All of this whole 7-episode thing would have been a 2.5-hour film at best.
True. Yeah.
So you'd have to compress a lot in terms of storyline and characterization, which I think is what makes the show unique as well, because you have a lot of interesting characters to play around with.
Right. Now for the benefit of the audience, let's talk about the show. For someone who's not read the book also, what should they expect? What zone? They've seen the trailer. What should they expect? Anything more that you all can share more than the trailer?
See, we don't have our own bonds. We don't have our own spies stories. We don't tell those stories.
Right.
It's a very simple spy story, which has multiple layers to it. I think the environment that it is in, the geopolitics of it, his personal backstory, and the story of the other characters who basically are part of his journey. It's something which is very interesting. What you can expect is a very fast-paced thriller which entertains you, and you will not even realize when these 7 episodes will finish.
Have we seen anything in a similar space that we can be like, okay, this kind of genre or something on
It will be unfair for the show for me to say, okay, it's something like this, but I think it's our attempt to create our own spy series.
Right.
It also probably adds to your earlier question about why a series, because we believe that this character, we can sustain it over a period of time.
Right.
It's a very likable character, and we can continue to invest in, I think audience we hope that will continue to invest in this character over a period of multiple seasons.
Right.
That's why a series as well.
Right.
So, that's...
Yeah, you can talk about the story, of course. Where does this story go? Which city, which country it takes place in?
Yes. Actually, I'll just take off from where he left, which is I think we've not had an authentic spy thriller that is actually this rooted as our show is in our context. We have something that's extremely over the top, that is catering to a certain Bollywood-driven audience, right? But now we've got this platform where we can tell it in a grounded way and have a close to, it's not John le Carre, but it's not completely Ian Fleming either. It's somewhere in the middle, and that's what we're trying to crack with this.
Right.
As far as the story is concerned, it's about a Shakespeare professor who has been a spy in the past with Indian intelligence, and a mission in the current day kind of thrusts him back into the world he's trying to forget, or demons he's trying to battle. And it's just a character's journey through this crazy world now, where he's going to go to rescue 4 of his own in a foreign land. Balochistan is where we set it, and it's more of a internal journey of all the characters that are involved, rather than a completely non-fiction political show per se. It's more of an action thriller, So it's in that sense a feel-good action thriller,
Right.
if you know what I mean.
Right.
So I think, yeah, I mean, I don't know if we've attempted something like that in the past, but this is us trying to present that. So let's see
Right.
how that goes.
Right. How was the director selected, and at what point did he come in, and also their cast?
We started writing the show first. I think we started. We had Ethan and Cyrus, who have written Sleeper Cell, and they created Kung Fu Panda, come in and join the room. I think more focus was to get the writing first.
Right.
I think once we had visibility on the writing, when we realized that we are at a stage, probably we had, I think, first draft of each episodes.
Right.
That was the time when we wanted to involve Ribu. Ribu, I think we've been interacting for some time, and we were trying to work together. Probably this was the opportunity where everything, kind of worked out. And he came on board. I think once we had written the first draft, then he kind of started contributing towards the draft, because he ultimately has to visualize and execute what has been the story is.
Right.
And I think he started adding layers as a director to that story and took that momentum forward.
Right. My last question is the budget more or less for a film? Is it safe for a production house to enter into this kind of space? Are the returns with Netflix long term and worth putting in all the effort?
See, we are creating content and telling stories. We want to tell stories.
Right.
Stories can be done, probably you can have a 2 hours, format for a story, you can have a 3 hour, you can have a mini series, you can have 7 episodes, 8 episodes.
Right.
I think the story should dictate how long it should take rather than the medium itself. Okay. I think we are grateful today that we have this opportunity where you can create content without being having a limitation of how many episodes you need, and go as far as you can and do justice to the story. And thanks to Netflix, I mean, you create something here, and you're kind of creating a content which reaches out to a global audience. So your attempt is also to be at par with what's being created everywhere. At the same point of time, keep the roots and keep the characters and keep them localized, so that you're telling an Indian story.
Right.
That's
right. Great. Your book has already gone places. Now, best of luck for this one,
Thank
Bilal,
you.
and
Thank you.
best of luck
Thank you.
for this. I'm sure
you,
this
Rohit.
will do very
Thank
well
you.
on Netflix.
Thank you for
also.
having
fingers
us.
crossed.